Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. This time we're tackling Angela Duckworth's Grit, the power of passion and perseverance. No skimming allowed, we're going deep, like straight to the core, getting you those insights you can actually use, right?
Absolutely.
So have you ever found yourself wondering, is success really all about that raw talent? Or is it more about, just crazy dedication?
Yeah.
And is it something you can even learn? Can you learn to be grittier? Well, get ready for some serious aha moments, because that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Yeah.
And joining us is an expert not only on the book itself, but also on connecting those dots and revealing why this all actually matters to you.
Yeah, Duckworth, she really challenges those ingrained ideas we have about talent, that it's like the be all and end all.
Right.
And what's so fascinating is how she digs into this concept of grit, this powerful combo of passion and perseverance.
Okay.
And she argues it's actually more important for long-term success than just talent alone.
More important, huh?
Yeah, and she doesn't just theorize about it, she backs it up with real-world examples.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little.
Yeah.
What exactly does she mean by grit being more important? It kind of feels counterintuitive, don't you still need some talent as a foundation?
You're right. It's not that talent doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But think of it this way. Her research at West Point showed that cadets scoring higher on her grit scale were more likely to complete that crazy training than those with, get this, higher aptitude scores.
Really?
These are individuals already considered talented.
Right.
But it was grit that predicted who'd stick it out.
So it's almost like talent gets you to the starting line, but grit is what gets you across the finish line.
Yeah, precisely.
I like that.
She gives examples of, athletes training like crazy, teachers going above and beyond, even business leaders facing setback after setback, but refusing to quit.
Wow.
Their talent might have given them a head start,
Okay.
but it was grit that got them through challenges and led them to success.
This is really making me rethink things. It's not just about being, naturally gifted. It's about having that staying power, that ability to push through the tough stuff. Speaking of pushing through, Duckworth brings up this idea of the hard thing rule. Can you break that down for us?
Oh, absolutely. The hard thing rule is all about choosing things that challenge you, things that push you outside that comfort zone.
Okay.
But it's not about picking something you're bad at. It's more about choosing something that needs you to put in the effort and really commit.
Right.
It's like building muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Ooh, I love that analogy. It makes grit feel so much more attainable. It's something we can actually develop, through practice. It's not just some magical thing you're born with.
Exactly.
I like that.
And here's where it gets really practical. Duckworth, she recommends setting a grit goal.
A grit goal.
This isn't just any goal. It's like this big picture aspiration, something that really aligns with what you're passionate about.
Okay.
This acts as your guiding star, a source of motivation to keep you going when you hit those bumps,
Yeah.
which you inevitably will.
You will. So it's not just about, mindlessly grinding away. It's about making sure your effort is tied to something you actually care about. This is making me think about, my own goals. Are they really aligned with what I'm passionate about? Are they actually challenging enough to push me to grow my grit?
Those are great questions. We should all be asking ourselves those.
Yeah.
Think about an area where maybe you've struggled to stick with something.
Okay.
Could a lack of grit be a factor there?
Interesting.
And how could the hard thing rule apply to that situation?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get discouraged when things get hard,
Yeah.
But maybe that's exactly when grit kicks in and helps us push through. And Duckworth actually has some pretty interesting thoughts on how to view those tough moments.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the most valuable things from grit is how she reframes setbacks.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't see them as failures,
Interesting.
but as chances to learn and grow. So those West Point cadets, they weren't immune to setbacks. They just approached those challenges differently.
Exactly. It's about shifting your perspective, seeing those challenges as valuable feedback instead of reasons to give up.
I like that.
It's a core principle of developing a gritty mindset.
It really is.
Yeah.
This is all fascinating stuff. We're just scratching the surface here, though, folks. So be sure to tune in for parts 2 and 3 to dive even deeper into grit with us. Until then, keep those brains firing.
This whole idea of setbacks as feedback, it ties in really well with another concept Duckworth explores, the growth mindset.
Oh, yeah, growth mindset. That's everywhere these days. But I gotta be honest, I'm not always sure what it really means.
It's powerful stuff. It's the belief that our abilities aren't fixed, you know?
Okay.
We can improve with effort.
Right.
It's like, if you think you're just bad at something, you're way less likely to stick with it when you hit a roadblock.
It's like that saying, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Yeah, your beliefs really shape your actions.
For sure. And Duckworth's research shows people can actually change their mindsets.
Really?
It's not always easy, but with awareness and practice, we can start seeing challenges as growth opportunities.
So it's not just about setting goals and pushing through. It's also about having the right mindset. I like that grit goes deeper than surface level advice.
Yeah.
It gets into how our minds actually work.
And here's where it gets even more interesting. Duckworth dives into passion, which she says is the other key ingredient of grit.
Okay.
She makes a distinction between, like, interests, which can be fleeting,
right,
and a true passion, which develops over time and gets deeper with experience.
So it's not just about finding something you kind of like. It's about cultivating this deep, lasting love for it. But how do you even know if something is just a passing interest or a potential passion?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
Duckworth suggests it's often a process of exploration and discovery. It's not always love at first sight. It can emerge gradually as you invest time and effort into something that intrigues you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we put too much pressure on ourselves sometimes to find that one true passion right away.
Yeah.
And then we get discouraged when it doesn't just appear.
Yeah.
But maybe it's more about being curious,
Yeah.
trying new things,
Yeah.
and being open to what grabs our attention.
I think that's a great approach.
Yeah.
Duckworth even talks about how people with grit often have multiple passions.
Oh, interesting.
And those passions evolve over time.
Okay.
The key is being open to exploring different areas, you know,
Yeah.
and willing to put in the time and effort to really connect with something.
So it's not about finding that perfect passion immediately. It's more about the journey and letting your passions unfold naturally. I like that.
Me too.
But how does this all connect back to grit?
Well, as our passions grow, so does our perseverance.
Right.
We're more likely to stick with things we truly care about,
Yeah.
even when we face obstacles and setbacks.
Right.
This is where passion and perseverance work together to create real grit.
It's almost like
I
a
think
positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
The more passionate you are,
Yeah.
the more likely you are to persevere.
I get
The
it.
more you persevere, the stronger your passion becomes.
Exactly. And this cycle can lead to some amazing achievements.
Yeah.
Think about the people who've made a real impact.
Yeah.
Scientists, artists, entrepreneurs, activists, they often spend years, even decades, pursuing their passions, overcoming tons of challenges along the way.
Their stories are truly inspiring. It's not about overnight success or instant gratification. It's about that constant effort, unwavering commitment, and a deep belief in their work.
For sure.
But grit isn't just for those exceptional people, right?
Absolutely not. It's not just about achieving these big things in the world. It's about those everyday challenges we all face.
Okay.
It's those small acts of perseverance, you know, those moments when you push through even when you don't feel like it. Those are the things that build your character and resilience.
So it's something we can all practice every day, whether it's sticking to a workout, learning a new skill, or just showing up for the people we care about, even when we're exhausted or stressed.
Exactly. These might seem like little things,
Yeah.
but they all build your overall well-being.
Sure.
Make you more effective in everything you do.
It's about developing that inner strength, that resilience that helps us get through the tough times and come out stronger.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This is all making me realize grit is so much more than just pushing through a tough task. It's about mindset. It's about passion. It's something that affects every part of our lives.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And as Duckworth emphasizes, developing grit is a journey.
Not a destination.
There will be times we stumble,
Yeah.
times we feel discouraged, times we question if we can keep going.
For sure.
But it's in those moments we need to remember our passions, our goals, and the progress we've already made.
It's about giving ourselves a break, recognizing that setbacks are normal
Yeah.
and not letting them derail us.
It's like allowing ourselves to be human.
Exactly. And, you know, it also helps to be around people who support your goals
Yeah.
and encourage you when you want to quit.
We all have those friends or family members who just radiate that gritty energy, you know?
Oh, yeah.
They're the ones who believe in you, even when you doubt yourself. Having them around can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. We're social creatures.
Right.
Having that support system is so important when it comes to reaching our goals.
Yeah.
So as you keep working on your grit, remember to reach out to those who inspire you, who challenge you to be your best, and who celebrate your wins with you.
It's about recognizing that we're not in this alone.
Exactly.
We can lean on each other, share our struggles and our wins, and create a culture of support that helps everyone thrive.
And that's what makes grit so powerful.
Yeah.
It's not just about individual achievement. It's about building a more resilient community where everyone has the chance to reach their full potential. That's a beautiful vision. And I love that grit gives us a plan to get there. But before we wrap up, there's one more thing from the book I want to touch on.
It's okay. What's the name?
It's about talent, which we talked about earlier. It's often overemphasized in our society.
Right.
But she doesn't completely dismiss it.
Interesting. So it's not like talent is bad and grit is good.
Exactly. Duckworth knows talent plays a role.
Okay.
But she argues it's not the deciding factor. In fact, she suggests talent can even be a distraction sometimes.
How so?
It can lead people to rely on their natural abilities instead of putting in the work to really excel.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I've seen that. People who are naturally gifted but don't have the work ethic to reach their full potential.
Exactly. Duckworth says, talent is more like a starting point, raw material that needs to be shaped and refined through consistent effort and dedication.
So it's like having a block of marble. It has the potential to be amazing, but it takes a sculptor to make it into a masterpiece.
Perfect analogy. And Duckworth says, grit is that sculptor, the force that transforms raw talent into something remarkable.
It's about recognizing talent alone isn't enough.
Right.
It needs to be nurtured and channeled through hard work, perseverance, and passion.
It's about seeing talent as a gift, but also knowing it's up to us to use it.
And that's a message for all of us, no matter what our natural abilities are.
Yeah.
We all have the potential to achieve great things if we're willing to put in the work, develop our grit, and go after our passions.
This book is so inspiring. It's not about comparing ourselves to others or feeling limited by what we think our talents are. It's about realizing we all have the power to grow, learn, and achieve.
It's a message of hope and empowerment.
It really is.
It reminds us that we're not stuck with a predetermined fate.
Right?
Our choices, our efforts, and our beliefs shape our future.
What a great thought to keep in mind as we keep growing and developing.
It reminds us we're all capable of greatness, no matter where we start.
Yeah, I like that.
It just takes courage to embrace the challenge, discipline to keep going, and passion to fuel our dreams.
With those things, we can shape our lives.
Absolutely.
And make a positive impact on the world.
It's been great exploring grit with you today.
Likewise. And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to cultivate your own grit and pursue your passions with determination.
Remember, the longest journey starts with a single step.
True.
So take that first step today. Embrace the challenge and start building that grit. That'll help you achieve your dreams.
And as you go on this journey, remember, you don't have to go it alone.
For sure.
Surround yourself with people who support you, encourage you to keep going, and celebrate your successes with you.
Together, we can make grit more than just a personal thing. We can make it a force for positive change in the world.
That's a future worth working towards. Now let's bring it back to you, the listener. Why does all of this even matter? Why should we care about developing grit?
That's the question, right? Like, it's easy to get lost in the theory, but why should you actually care about this whole grit thing?
Yeah, that's the real question.
I think it comes down to its power to actually transform things. When you build grit, you're not just upping your odds of hitting some goal. It's deeper than that.
Okay.
You're developing resilience, determination, and that spills over into everything.
So it's like an internal upgrade.
Yeah.
But with external results.
Exactly. Grit gives you that strength to face whatever life throws at you with more grace, more toughness.
Right.
It helps you bounce back from those setbacks, learn from your mistakes, and keep moving forward, even when you just want to quit.
It's that whole fall 7 times, stand up 8 idea.
Yes. Grit is what makes you get back up.
Instead of staying down.
And Duckworth's research shows this isn't just good for you, it's good for everybody.
Oh, interesting.
Imagine a world where people are more likely to stick with their goals, push through challenges, and actually use their talents and passions.
That sounds pretty amazing.
Right. That's the kind of world grit can build.
So it's not just self-improvement. It's like a ripple effect going outward.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a cultural shift.
Wow.
More innovation, more resilience as a community. Because people aren't giving up so easily.
This book almost feels like a guide for that. It's not just inspirational, it's practical.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
By understanding those core parts, the passion, the perseverance, the growth mindset, and using Duckworth strategies, we can actually build this in ourselves.
We can.
And the more people who do that, the more it becomes the norm.
I love that. It's like we've been thinking about talent all wrong. It's not this fixed thing. It's more like the raw material, you know?
Yeah.
And grit is the tool that shapes it.
Perfectly said. And that journey of developing grit, it's a lifelong thing, as we've said.
Right.
There will be times of doubt, setbacks, times you just want to give up.
Oh, for sure.
But Duckworth reminds us of something important.
What's that?
That we can change. That growth is possible, that we're not limited by where we start.
That's a powerful reminder.
It is. And that belief is crucial for grit to grow.
Makes sense.
So as you move forward, remember to embrace those challenges, fuel those passions, and never underestimate yourself.
And find your people, those who support you, challenge you, remind you why it all matters.
Yes. Because we don't have to do this alone.
Absolutely.
Together, we can make grit more than a personal thing. We can make it a force for good in the world.
That's what makes this book so much more than just another self-help book.
It is.
It's a call to action.
A reminder that we can create our own destinies and contribute to something bigger.
Well said. This has been such an insightful deep dive into grit. We hope you've gained some knowledge and a little spark to start your own journey.
Remember, even the toughest journeys start with just one step.
True.
So take that step today, embrace the challenge, and start building the grit you need to achieve your dreams.
And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to be the best version of yourself.